place agitated against the functioning of the L-G office both inside the assembly and outside on the streets, with the latest flashpoint being a teachers training program in Finland, which the L-G has, according to the AAP, withheld owing to the inability of the AAP government to satisfy the L-G on several counts, one of them being a cost-benefit analysis of the program. Earlier today, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal led a march to the L-G VK Saxena's home to protest against his alleged interference in the working of AAP government in the national capital. Marching towards the L-G residence, Delhi CM spoke exclusively to Mirror Now. Let's listen in.
एलजी को मैसेज भेजा हुआ है। मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि वो दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री हैं, पूरी कैबिनेट है, सारे विधायक हैं, तो जरूर बुलाएंगे।
जी सर, अब एलजी ये कह रहे हैं कि इजाजत ऐसे दी नहीं है, लेकिन फाइल रोकी भी नहीं है, बल्कि उसको आप लोगों को एक बार रीथिंक करने के लिए वापस भेजा गया है।
क्यों? एलजी साहब ने अगर फाइल रोकी नहीं है तो मुझे अब एक चिट्ठी लिख के भेज दे कि मुझे कोई ऑब्जेक्शन नहीं, आप अपने टीचर्स को भेज दीजिए, खत्म, मामला ही खत्म है। फाइल रोकते भी हैं और जब प्रेशर पड़ता है तो कहते हैं फाइल रोकी भी नहीं है।
सर, हमने देखा कि अभी मेयर की जो नई तारीखें है वो भी आ गई है, तो उस बारे में सर क्या कहना चाहिए?
मैं उम्मीद करता हूँ उस दिन मेयर का चुनाव होगा और अच्छा मेयर मिलेगा।
मैं जानना चाहता हूँ कि एलजी साहब को कौन से एक्ट में या कौन सी सुप्रीम कोर्ट की जजमेंट से ये शक्तियां मिली हैं कि वो चुनी हुई सरकार को उसका प्रपोजल वापस भेज सकते हैं। कोई एक्ट तो होगा, कोई कानून तो होगा, उनके पास कोई ऐसी शक्ति है ही नहीं। सुप्रीम कोर्ट कहता है कि चुनी हुई सरकार अगर उनके पास कोई भी अपना डिसीजन भेजती है तो एलजी या तो उसको एक्सेप्ट करेंगे, मान लेंगे, साइन कर देंगे, या वो उसको राष्ट्रपति साहब को भेजेंगे। उनके पास ये शक्ति ही नहीं है कि वो उसको जो है वापस सरकार के पास भेज सकते हैं। वो किस शक्ति से ये कर रहे हैं, हम यही तो जानना चाहते हैं।
All right, let's in fact introduce the panelists joining us here on the program today. Charu Pragya, BJP spokesperson; Dr Piyush Joshi, political analyst, also supports the Aam Aadmi Party; Smita Gupta, senior journalist, also a neutral observer of the events. Thank you very much for joining us here on the program. Very good evening to all of you. Charuji, if I may begin with you, do you not support the idea, Charu Pragya, that teachers and the teaching profession should be incentivized in this country? What's wrong if teachers are getting this opportunity to go abroad? It'll give them experience and exposure. After all, you and me know, I mean, a textbook cannot equate actual experience, isn't it? It will also elevate the concept of the teaching profession, encouraging perhaps more youngsters to aspire to be teachers. What more cost-benefit analysis does the Delhi LG really want?
Afrida, this is not an issue of education. This is not an issue of skill building or upskilling of our teachers. This issue is of a chief minister who does not understand how to govern without causing drama. And I think that is the bottom line of every single thing Aam Aadmi Party Sarkar does in Delhi. I am sorry I have to say this. Every time something happens, have you ever heard anywhere in the world, anywhere in this country, of a CM sitting on dharna or taking out a march against his own government? Does it even work like that? Why is it that he is permanently at loggerheads, permanently complaining about everything instead of sitting down and resolving anything? Please tell me, do you think if a proposal is good, do you think if a proposal is for the upliftment and betterment of any qualified people in our country, the LG will refuse it? I think what we hear from Aam Aadmi Party is half a story. I think what we hear from Aam Aadmi Party is basically a lot of drama, which is flared up in the media for more and more publicity, and that needs to change. He was also talking about the mayor elections. I think it is appalling the way that was carried out. It was appalling. I mean, I cannot imagine the visuals. They come from the capital of our country. There are councillors who are breaking mics and speakers and hurting women in there. Why did they even walk in carrying sharp objects if they didn't intend to do this from the very beginning? So I'm sorry. This is not about teachers. This is not about education. This is not about upskilling. This is simply about a chief minister who cannot do without drama and who will grab any chance at more publicity.
No, I asked you a very pointed question because, you know, the LG, and this is coming from the LG.
And I answered that. I told you.
He needs certain grounds to be satisfied before he clears this trip. I was only referring to the latest flashpoint, though you went to the other issue of mayoral election as well. I'll come to that.
No. Can I? No, Afrida, because you asked me this again, I will come back to this. Do you think that every time a scholarship of 16,000 is given, it's justifiable to spend 20 lakhs promoting it? So if the LG is asking to look into further details, I think that's only fair because it is honest taxpayers' money which goes behind all of this.
Okay, fair point.
And it should be
fair point.
scrutinized
If
and
the LG
re-scrutinized,
requires that certain
his
points
rights.
are to be satisfied, why is the AAP government resisting it? Dr. Piyush Goyal, also, in addition to what Charu Pragya already said, I want to ask you, the Delhi CM repeatedly makes this point about how AAP is the elected government, the LG is a titular head. That may be true for other states, you know, but for the union territory of Delhi, which does not have complete statehood, there is a rule in place that services and land and public order and police comes under the LG's jurisdiction. Now, from the side of the LG, it is only about exercising his jurisdiction into areas of services, teaching being one of them. What is wrong in it?
Nothing's wrong in it. Let's make Delhi a union territory. You know, the Act has been amended so many times. GNCT Act has been amended so many times in the past. Make it a union territory, govern all you want. You know, why have this continuous antagonism all the time? That is what is worrying. You know, Arvind Kejriwal ji has been elected, has been given mandate by the Delhi of people for doing a certain job. You know, there is a job description which he is supposed to do. He has to electrify the vehicles, the buses which are running on the streets of Delhi. He has to improve the education system by leaps and bounds. We have already done quite a bit on that, but he has to complete his job. He has to open 1,000 mohalla clinics. So all these jobs, you know, because the people are going to demand answers in 2025. Now, what LG is doing, a cost-benefit analysis, fair enough. For every project of government, there has to be a cost-benefit analysis. The Delhi government would have done, the education department would have done the cost-benefit analysis, and thereafter only they sent the file to the LG. The LG has, you know, just surpassed each and every
Dr. Joshi, because AAP is questioning why you require a cost-benefit analysis. You are telling me they have already done that bit of groundwork and submitted everything. I don't think that's true.
Each and every project, you know, whichever project you are passing through the cabinet, there will be an analysis. Now, you tell me, you see the results of a reform in education system in a decade or in 15 years or in 2 decades. Let's say tomorrow the President of India says that let's do a cost-benefit analysis of how the soldiers are posted at Siachen border.
No, this is not a case of whataboutery, sir. The problem is, if your intent is really to send the teachers abroad
can I give
for greater exposure, why don't you get all the clearances that the LG needs, satisfy the man? That's all. Because if it is getting stuck in this ego battle, who's suffering? The teachers are not going anywhere.
Everything is getting stuck, Afrida ji.
I'll come back to you, Charu Pragya. I got your point.
Because it's a clear-cut directive from the union government, you know. Otherwise, why did they go and amend the GNCT Act in 2021? Tell me this.
Okay, so you're saying this is deliberate, and you're saying this is something that is coming from the union government. Smita Gupta, even sitting across the table of these two individuals have not helped matters. You had an hour-long meeting of the LG and the CM. Nothing got resolved. Rather, I would say the AAP came out even more aggressive. Perhaps that meeting did, you know, more harm than good. Is there a middle ground, Smita Gupta? Because AAP has adopted a my way or highway kind of method, if I'm, you know, reading things correctly here, with the CM today taking to the streets, marching to the LG's residence.
But you see, the law makes that possible. If you look at most union territories, right from the day that the Aam Aadmi Party came to power, if you remember, there was that battle over who controls the police. The police is still controlled by the central government. And the excuse given at that point, or the reason given at that point, rather, was that this is the Union Territory of Delhi is located in the same place as the central government, and therefore it is important that the police is controlled by the central government. Now, in 2021, the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Act was passed, and this has given primacy to the centrally appointed LG and made the elected government of India a subsidiary. So therefore, according to this law, the LG is supreme. But then why do we have an elected government? I mean, there seems to be an anomaly. I'm not going into whether Mr. Kejriwal is behaving fairly or not fairly, but I'm saying there's an anomaly in the law itself. The LG is supreme in taking any decisions that refer to the government. At the same time, you have an elected government. Why do you have an elected government then? Then change that law also and make it, bring in some other kind of system. The whole problem is that from day one, the BJP and the AAP have been at each other's throats. And recently, we have seen that the municipal corporation elections, the Aam Aadmi Party has won. It is perhaps one of the parties in the country, perhaps the only party that is still on an upward trend. And this will continue unless the law is changed. Either you don't have an elected government in Delhi, in which case it's fine, the LG should have supreme powers then, as you have when you have president's rule in any state. When you have president's rule in any state, it is the governor who takes the decisions. But you have an elected government, and yet you have an LG who is supreme as far as taking decisions.
Yes, so there is an anomaly in the law, as Smita Gupta is pointing out. Charu Pragya, you wanted to say something earlier. Also, do comment on the fact that insofar as the mayoral election is concerned, the BJP is accused of trying to derail the process to install its own favourable candidate. That's been another charge against your party in Delhi.
So let me respond to what I wanted to say earlier, and then I will come back to your question, Afrida. First of all, when we talk about the cost-benefit analysis, the numbers which come from AAP government are always shaky. We know there was this whole scam that went on behind refurbishing the classrooms in Delhi. We know that even if you do very generous budgeting, each classroom could not have cost more than 5 lakh rupees, but the budgets were raised to at least 5 times that amount. We have to worry about that. That's number one. Number two, my co-panelist talked about a cabinet clearance, talked about cabinet approval. Let me remind him that for the liquor policy of Delhi, this cabinet clearance was taken post facto. First, the papers were signed and then the cabinet meeting was called. So I'm sorry, all this is on record. I am sorry if any person who's responsible for making sure that taxpayers' money is not misused is being cautious and careful, and you mind that, there is no getting around it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And now coming back to your point, Afrida, you're talking about the mayor elections. Tell me, does our constitution not allow us to stand for elections even if we have lesser numbers? So, one, Aam Aadmi Party has sufficient numbers. They have won this election fair and square. They have a lot of councillors, way more than BJP has, even if you add all the aldermen that they are complaining about. It still has an edge over BJP. So, if Modi ji stands for an election, does it mean that nobody from the opposition contests from that constituency? So, it's very unfair.
No, there again they are citing the constitution. There again they are citing provisions in the constitution that does not allow all the aldermen to be from one party. That was the only thing that was...
It is not about from the one party, It is about the appointments of aldermen.
But that's not the case.
I have very little time left. Let me have the others join in.
Let me finish.
Please finish in 10
Dr.
seconds
Joshi,
quickly.
Let me finish.
Yes.
Let me finish. Very quickly. So first of all the aldermen are not from one party, number one. Number two, MLAs are also voting in this election. Out of 14, 13 happen to be from Aam Aadmi Party. I didn't see you protest about that. You can't have selective protests about everything.
Okay, Dr. Joshi, respond and also tell me, first about the excise policy. I'm sorry to say I think there was a loss of credibility, isn't it? Because AAP went back on its own policy. So obviously, if nothing was done wrong, why did it go back? Secondly, it's not just about VK Saxena before that, Anil Bajal before that, Najib Jung. It's with every individual. So even if the individual changes,
Precisely.
yes, I mean, things
Precisely.
remain the same.
Precisely. Why is it happening? Because it's not the individual, it's the institution of LG which is operating at the behest of the union government. And union government has instructed the institution of the Lieutenant Governor not to allow the Aam Aadmi Party's elected government to function in an appropriate manner. The people have given the mandate. It is an elected government in Delhi. Now you keep on telling me about the liquor policy or the excise policy and everything. We can conduct an hour-long debate for that. As far as the mayoral election and the appointments of aldermen is concerned, when you appoint aldermen, what does the law say? The law says it has to be done in consultation with the cabinet. Now, the LG says it has to be done in the consultation of the cabinet, and cabinet.
No, I was asking
can be
you, didn't AAP go
manner.
back on its own policy? It had to revert to the previous policy.
Yes,
and
Manish Sisodia
abandon,
explained vehemently in his press conference.
after the expose, after what was exposed. So there, let's face it, the AAP faced a loss of credibility. It faced a bit of an embarrassment. That is all I'm saying.
It is because of the reduced number of vents. We have discussed it a number of times.
All right, let me have Smita Gupta give us concluding remarks. Smita, you heard both sides. I want to ask you again that this simply cannot go on. It's the capital city that we're talking about. And, you know, politics aside, the fact of the matter is the citizen suffers with all this bickering.
I agree with you entirely, Afrida. The city does suffer when the political party that rules at the center and the political party that runs Delhi is at loggerheads all the time. But I feel that something should be done to change the law regarding the administration of Delhi. Perhaps that could be step one. Because now what happens is that the AAP will tell you that we are an elected government, therefore we have the powers. The BJP will tell you the LG legally has the powers to question them. So this is an endless kind of battle. But I don't see this battle ending anytime soon, because as we have seen in the past, the Aam Aadmi Party leader and Chief Minister of Delhi, Arvind Kejriwal, is one of the few political leaders in this country who has the guts to take on Mr. Narendra Modi, frontally. Most other leaders, it is very few leaders take him on. And that is something that really bothers the BJP a great deal. Even today, if you see, there were two big events on the streets of Delhi. I mean, it is very unusual for the leader of a political party which runs the country to have a road show on the day when you are having a meeting of the BJP National Executive. It is not an election, it's not an election time campaign, but yet Mr. Modi took to the streets. Mr. Kejriwal, somebody, I think earlier, one of the two spokespersons spoke about, have you ever heard of a chief minister, taking to the streets against his own government? So Mr. Kejriwal's style, like Mamata Banerjee's in Bengal, is to take to the streets whenever, even if she's in power, Mr. Kejriwal, even if he's in power, they don't make these distinctions. They are permanently in opposition mode. But so is the BJP. The BJP is also, even though it's the ruling party and has been ruling from 2014, it is permanently in opposition mode, permanently in election mode.
Right,
so
right. Permanently in election mode is more like it. We've seen, of course, those pictures of massive rallies on the part of the BJP with the Prime Minister
Afrida,
there leading the roadshow. Okay, very quickly, 10 seconds and we wind up. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, it's not unusual for the Prime Minister to take a road and meet his karyakartas on his way to any NEC, madam. You can please go back and check that. Point number two, if there are no elections, why is it worrying you? Why has it rattled all the opposition today?
All right, thanks very much. We leave it at that. I think we've allowed, all the three panelists
Nobody
to make
is
their
at
points.
hours to work.
Thank you so much, Charu Pragya, Smita Gupta and Dr. P. Joshi for joining us this evening.